The history of Bestial Wrath. Bestial Wrath was added in Vanilla WoW in patch 1.7, replacing the terrible last tier in talent Spirit Bond, which was a buff that let your pet heal you for 40 health every time he attacked. In its first incarnation, it increased the damage of your pet by 100%, lasted 15 seconds, and had a 2-minute cooldown. At first, it only made your pet immune to fear, as its text was kind of a reference to the Terminator. Listen and understand. The Terminator is out there. It can't be bargained with. It can't be reasoned with. It doesn't feel pity, or remorse, or fear, and it absolutely will not stop, ever, until you are dead. Then in patch 1.9 they increased the duration to 18 seconds, and lowered the damage bonus to 50%. They also added a disorient effect to the list of stuff the pet was immune to. In BC, the Beast Within was added, which gave Hunter an enrage as well that allowed them to do 30% additional damage at first, then changed to a 10% damage increase, which it stayed at, and is still what it is at today. They also made it so it reduced the mana cost of your abilities by 20%. They also made Bestial Wrath work on all CC effects in 2.1, making you and your pet CC immune for 18 seconds. Then in patch 3.02, the Wrath pre-patch, readiness was changed from Survival's 41-point talent to Mark's 21-point talent. What this meant was that Beastmaster Hunters could now spec into Bestial Wrath / Beast Within and grab readiness. This meant hunters could pop Bestial Wrath and be CC immune for 18 seconds, then reset Bestial Wrath and be immune for another 18 seconds. Hunters could theoretically be CC immune for 36 seconds, which was a little OP. Then in patch 3.08, they added an exclusion of Bestial Wrath from readiness. So for that small window of time, it was the most OP thing in PvP besides Season 5 Death Knights. Nothing can beat what Season 5 Death Knights were, though. I mean, really, Glyph of D&D. But this 36 seconds of CC immunity was pretty close. Then in 3.2.2, Bestial Wrath was nerfed again to only last 10 seconds, down from 18 seconds it was for almost 2 expansions. Even after the initial nerf to readiness, 18 seconds of PvP immunity was still pretty strong and allowed the Beast Cleave teams to dominate. Just take a look at this video for reference. Right here, it's a Beast Cleave team versus a Mage, Warlock, and Druid. You see, they pop Bloodlust, Bestial Wrath, Wolves. Just look at the Mage's health. Right here, he uses a Frost Nova, he gets interrupted once, and then he dies. Now, this is a tournament match, so the Mage was fully PvP geared, and he died in 2 global cooldowns, which means he was only able to get off a Frost Nova to try and stop the pets, but since he was going Bestial Wrath, it didn't affect the Hunter, and he died immediately afterwards. The changes in 3.2.2 didn't kill the Beast Cleave, but it did tone it down a little. The Beast Cleave wasn't officially killed until Cataclysm, when they removed Bloodlust from arenas and made Ghost Wolves not worth the global cooldown to cast them. Also, to compensate for the change to the Bestial Wrath nerf, they let Beast Within give hunters a 10% damage bonus at all times, instead of just during Bestial Wrath. In Cataclysm, they changed BM Hunters so that their spec was no longer face roll, and started to become more of a cooldown spec like it is today. In Wrath, BM pets did about 40% of the hunter's total damage, so there was a high margin of error, with their already easy rotation making it one of the easiest specs in the game. In Kata, they nerfed the pets and buffed the hunters. Bestial Wrath now only increased the pet's damage by 20% instead of 50%, but it also allowed the hunter to cast their shots for half the cost. They also removed hunters from the CC immune status during Bestial Wrath, but left the pets the same. Surprisingly, there were no other changes to Bestial Wrath during Kata. In Mist, readiness was made baseline and allowed Bestial Wrath to be cast 2 times in a row again. But seeing as Hunter was still susceptible to CC, it wasn't as bad in PvP like it used to be. Hunters were still pretty OP in arenas though at the start of Mist. Not because of the double Bestial Wrath, but because of the bug Stampede that allowed the pets to do 100% normal damage instead of just 25%. Eventually that was fixed though, and Bestial Wrath was also lowered to a 1-minute cooldown and left pretty much the same as it was in Cataclysm, except that they added a new glyph that made your pet unkillable while under Bestial Wrath. Bestial Wrath was nerfed in 5.1 when they removed the pet from being CC immune from Bestial Wrath, and instead made it work just like it does on the Hunter, where it can be used while CC and works just like a PvP trinket in that it removes one crowd control effect. Then they buffed Bestial Wrath slightly in that you can now use Bestial Wrath while out of line of sight. Before the fix, a common way to stop pets was just to pillar hump so that the hunter couldn't get off Bestial Wrath. As of making this, there will be one other change to Bestial Wrath in that they are removing it from readiness again in patch 5.4. Bestial Wrath is a mere shadow of its former self, from the days of lasting 18 seconds and making you and your pet CC immune, to now where it's just an extra trinket. It's still pretty solid DPS cooldown though.